All right, welcome in. Hanna Time, Global Sports Broadcasting Network. Cornelius Brad Hanna. World Series, Thursday Night Football, Houston, Philadelphia. Both cities are rocking tonight because Houston's playing Philadelphia in football tonight. In the World Series, Houston and Philadelphia going on right now at the same time. I'm watching it. Got monitors all over here. Big sports night, hockey, football, baseball, basketball, getting ready for the World Cup. Yeah, this is a great time of the year for sports too, right? All right, let's get this going here. Global Sports Broadcasting Network, Cornelius Brad Hanna. 30 seconds coming up. Here we go. All right, welcome in. Hanna Time, Cornelius Brad Hanna. My sponsors below, scrolling through. Check them out too also. And I hope you appreciate them. They have always kept me going, and I love them. Thank you so much. My sponsors, we'll get to them later on a little billboard. But for now, we're going to talk World Series. We're going to talk NFL. We're going to get right into it. Big Thursday night here on the Global Sports Broadcasting Network. And, the NFL and baseball, which one starts tonight? That's the big question. I had a hard time. World Series, Game 5. It's 1-1. It's the fourth inning, and it's like, how do you turn that TV set off or change the channel? Houston, Philadelphia, the Eagles are undefeated, right? I mean, it's so much going on. And just when I speak, and there is a home run. Wow, just when I spoke, so I broke I guess I just jinxed it. So it's 2-1 now. Houston up on the Philadelphia Phillies, 2-1 in the fourth inning. So, all right. So, let's roll in. I'll talk baseball first. Let's do baseball first because a lot's going on in a lot of people's mind. Football, we're going to keep talking about this for the months to go, and baseball could be over by the weekend, right? That's what it's lining up to be by Saturday or Sunday. So, baseball, World Series, big night, like I said, for the two cities. And a lot of sports fans enjoying their popcorn or dinner tonight, watching games or late night snacks around the East Coast area or Midwest. All right, so we're going to pop something on the screen. The Astros itself, look at this right here. The Astros went 16 straight innings last night, right? By the end of the game, 21 innings with only a run scored in one of those innings. That was yesterday's. They had 5 runs in the inning, and then they were shut out the rest of the way. Tonight, first inning, they scored a run, then they just scored another run. But what I'm getting to is, and I watched them against Seattle, I watched Houston against the Yankees. They just had like one inning, scrapping a run, getting a home run like they just did, right? It wasn't like they're blowing up the scoreboard. And everybody talks like the Astros are blowing up the scoreboard. There's something there that is not impressing me other than the fact that they have really good pitching. So when you score a few runs, you're gonna, with good pitching, you're gonna pull out the game and win in the end for the most part, right? Especially their back end of the bullpen, which is basically 7th, 8th, 9th inning is really good. And if you don't have a lead or you're behind, good luck to that, right? That's a really tough task, right? But Philadelphia, the Phillies, they're gamers, they're brawlers, man, and they do not give up. And they put the bat on the ball, man, this team. So this game is far from over. It's tight. Pivotal game 4. Winner has a 3-2 game going back to Houston. And then, as you know, you win your 4th game, you're world champs. And you're Philadelphia. You really don't want to go back to Houston down 1. Houston does well on the road, well at home. Philadelphia does well at home also. So there's an obvious scenario there. But Philly did win in Houston, and Houston did win last night in Philly. So, last night, that loss by Philadelphia was their first home loss throughout the whole entire postseason. So put that in perspective. That's why this is a big game for Philadelphia, right? They still have a winning record on the road in the postseason, but it's nothing, Dev. It's a little above 500, right? So must win? No. Teams have come back down 3-2 before, but to go on the road and win 2 in a row, yeah, that could be a tough task. Justin Verlander on the mound got touched up by Schwarber. And check this out. I want to get into this. Schwarber was asked because, last night, the Phillies were no hit. There was a no hit last night. Okay. There was a really no hit, right? This is something for real. These are the guys, the pitchers, the catchers, right? All involved, the starting pitcher, the 3 bullpen guys, all of them a combined no hitter. Okay. Now, impressive. First time in 12 years that a no hitter in postseason was thrown. It's the first World Series no hitter since Don Larson's perfect game in the 50s. So is that impressive? Yeah, it's always impressive to no hit a World Series team. I mean, put that in perspective. You're in the World Series, you get no hit. So that's so give Houston a lot of credit. They got a great bullpen. But there's a lot of things that I'm not comfortable with about the spin rate and things that are going on. I'm not quite sure how this is all playing out in the World Series, but let's move on. So the Astros, right? No hit. And Schwarber, the left-hand hitter, he won a World Series with the Cubs, danced around Major League Baseball, but I don't know why. This guy's a baller. He's a big-time hitter, Major League Baseball hitter, and he was asked a question about the no-hit last night. His whole team didn't get a hit. And this is his quote on the screen. I really don't give a shit. Nope. Move on to tomorrow. Bottom of the first inning. Houston's winning 1-0 already. Schwarber is up at bat. Second pitch. Boom. Don't give a shit. I mean, he just takes it out of the park, ties the game up, gets the crowd back in it. They were just no hit. No more no-hitter crap. No more no-hitter talk. No more shutout talk. Boom. Great. You speak with your actions, man. This was amazing. Drama. Great. Not even drama. Just theater. Just fantastic. Now, things quieted down until this inning, the 4th, where Pena just goes deep. So it's 2-1 Houston. But give Schwarber, I love that. The guy makes a big statement, and here he is backing it up tonight with the first at bat of the game for the Phillies in the bottom of the first inning itself. All right, so moving on. Talking about postseason and no-hitters, just to kind of remind you as the game's going on right now, the Don Larson stuff is still the best postseason performance by a pitcher, no doubt, because he basically perfect game against the Brooklyn Dodgers. So, 7 strikeout, 97 pitches, the whole bit, right? The combined no-hitter, great. But anytime a pitcher can do it on his own at that greatness, that surpasses anything, right? But Roy Halladay, Philadelphia Phillies, in a postseason game was the other no-hitter, and he did it right in that same stadium last night in Philadelphia, too, by the way. And the late Roy Halladay, one of the great ones, too, Cy Young and everything. So, all right, so bring it back here. Talking baseball, I'm going to talk football in a little bit here. Just want to break through the World Series stuff and what's been going down and baseball news and things like that. Coming up around 7:15, 7:30, Mancini's going to come in. He's live weekly, daily on the Philadelphia radio station in Philadelphia. So he knows all this about Philadelphia. And it was hard to even bring anybody into the show from Philadelphia because this is a big night in Philly. It's a huge night in Philly. So it was intriguing to try to get anybody in from Philly that I knew, right? And so I just backed away. I said, I gave it a couple of tries. Nobody in Philadelphia, they're all watching this stuff. They're watching the football game, and their Eagles are undefeated, and now they're watching their team try to win a World Series. It's pretty amazing stuff for Philadelphia fans. So amazing that in Game 3, when the Phillies were rocking the Astros, home runs, boom, boom, boom. Hoskins, the plays for the Phillies, hits a home run. His wife's in section 104 or something like that, okay? And his wife goes out to the concourse, leaves her seat, and she buys 50 beers for the people in her section. There she is. a big circle right there around the beers and the fan. I mean, look at her face, like the cameras and things like that. But this is definitely a baseball wife and a baseball fan, and definitely loving the moment too. And that's nice. That's very nice of her too. But cool story right there. Another great story coming out of the World Series. Tim McGraw, the country singer. He's a legend, right? Everything about it. The guys, he was just here in Arizona where our studios are. We're usually at JJ Grub Shack, but tonight we're in studio. But anyway, Tim McGraw basically grew up a Philadelphia Philly fan. His dad, former Met, great reliever, ended up with the Phillies at one point and ends up winning a World Series with the Phillies in 1980. 1980, right? Or 81, right? No, 1980 against the Royals. And Tim McGraw's father, Tug McGraw, also known as Tugger. And Tim was a great baseball fan. So anyway, he's been at the World Series in Philadelphia, right? And Tim hanging out. There he is. Last night they did that big thing about cancer and recognizing it, and everybody had their signs and their people's names on it. Well, there was Tim with these few fans and police officer with Tug McGraw's name on it. He died from cancer, and there was Tim that night, last night. So he's having a blast. He's wearing the old school uniform, which the Phillies are wearing tonight, the blue. There you have it. But not only that, the fans were loving him. Tim McGraw itself. I'm going to back that one out too. But Tim McGraw is a legend. Tug McGraw is a legend in Philadelphia for what he did, bringing a World Series there in 1980. Philadelphia Phillies never experienced a Philadelphia Phillies World Series until Tim McGraw strikes out, I think, Willie Wilson to end the 1980 World Series. And finally, Philadelphia overcomes the dire of 1970 baseball, getting past some great teams. And then they do it again in 2008, the Phillies, and now they're trying to do it again, 14 years later against the Houston Astros. All right, so there's your nice little storyline itself about baseball. I got a few other things. I'm going to save it for Mancini as we're going to run through a lot too. But the one thing I was impressed about the Phillies, and this is something that's going to come into play, is their starting pitching is good, but their bullpen is just as good as Houston and doesn't get a lot of love. Right? And their Phillies bullpen has been fantastic in the World Series for the first 4 games. I have up there on 3 games. That's a typo. So the first 4 games, they've been great. After giving up 5 runs, that was basically their starting pitcher. They bring in one guy who just never really had it, and all that earned run went to the starting pitcher last night, Nola. But other than that, this Philly bullpen has been great. And tonight, the bullpen is already in action. Noah Syndergaard is out of the game, and he did his part. He pitched 3 innings, gave up 2 runs. Unfortunately, one was the home run to go ahead so far here in the 4th. But the Phillies itself are using their bullpen early. There's an off day tomorrow. It's a travel day, so everybody's going to spend their bullpen a lot. Okay, the Phillies didn't really use their bullpen their best last night because they were down big and early. They lose 7-0, so they really have to go deep into their bullpen. Where the Astros had to go back and use their bullpen because of what? They were winning, and they were trying to preserve a no-hitter, and they went for the no-hitter. And what was crossing my mind last night was, you're going to win this game. And at some point, why bring in your closer or bring in guys that are going to probably have to come in tonight? You could have saved them to see, right? But the no-hitter seemed to be important to the Astros last night. That was my take on it. Right. So now these guys should show up, bounce back. They're used to the grind of a summer of baseball day after day and getting back out there. But let's see. Let's see how this game transpires late in the game. That the Astros had to use their bullpen last night. Didn't have to, by the way. Didn't have to use their bullpen. When it's 7-0 in the 9th inning, did you really have to go to all those great arms in the 7th and 8th inning, really? By the 8th inning, you're thinking, why use an arm like that? Well, I get it. You don't want to let the team back in the game, but you have a cush. But now you're going after some history stuff, which is the no-hitter, and they got it, and it worked out well for now. We'll see how it works out later on in the 7th, 8th inning, and 9th inning if the Astros are needing those guys to come back in the game to save a game or to hold a lead or to whatever it is. Maybe the Phillies are winning and they need to keep the game close. We'll see what happens. There's an off day tomorrow. They play Saturday and Sunday, and then we'll crown a champion at some point on Saturday or Sunday, and we'll see how it plays out. All right. There's your baseball update. They're in the bottom of the fourth. Let me get that off the screen. They're in the bottom of the fourth, 2-1 at Houston, and it sounds like and feels like the whole country is rooting for the Phillies. And it's just Houston against the world. And the Astros love that. And then that the Houston Astro fans glorifying that. And, it's deserved, though, because the cheating scandal stuff, even today, there's a lot of skepticism about pitchers. I mean, just the other night. I mean, I don't know if you watched this. I don't have the video on it because I didn't want to show the video, actually. But Alvarez, he's getting all this love, this guy. But people were watching this game closely, and I don't know what it is about baseball, and they're policing the game with their umpires about the spin rate, and pitchers were using some stuff called spider tack that was giving them some extra grip and spinning the ball a little bit better. But this guy right here, Alvarez, is getting so much love. He's been so dominant, but his whole career was nothing like this until this year. And they took away the spin rate stuff because they took away the tack, the spider tack. And then the numbers kind of changed for a little bit. Now the tack is back. The spin is back. Everything is back. And more than ever in the playoffs in a big way. And so this guy, Alvarez, we're watching him. I'm watching him. And it's all over social media. He's touching everything. I mean, this guy was touching everything. And people say that's just because that's what he does. Well, that's what pitchers will do. I mean, it's like the indicator, the third base coach giving the indicator if you're going to bunt or not, right? And doing all these things, right? So the pitchers are doing all this crap to confuse you. But the bottom line is, if the umpire sees all that stuff, then you better check him better. If not, at some point, I'm believing the Philadelphia Phillies are going to call this out in Houston when Alvarez probably gets to pitch again, maybe game 7, right? Or game 2, maybe. It's going to be, game 2. It's going to be game 2 tomorrow. It's going to be Saturday. He'll be pitching and possibly for the World Series, right? The championship. But don't be surprised because, it happened already in the postseason where Buck Showalter of the Mets called out the Padres pitcher for all the stuff that was on him, or supposedly, and baseball let it slide. The umpires didn't see anything. But the word is out. And the word is out again. And this could be just conspiracy thoughts and people trying to just rip on the Astros because all of the cheating scandal. Nobody trusts them. But then again, other pitchers are doing it too. Like Justin Verlander, we were all skeptical of that. He just came off of surgery. Right? And then he just has a Cy Young season, just like that. Nobody comes off of nobody comes off of a Tommy John surgery, and then first season back is a Cy Young winner, basically. He's going to win it. Now, he's just a special guy. Bullcrap. You can't change the body. He's 39 years old. So there's a lot of people watching this stuff, but nobody's getting anything done. So, all right. So we'll keep an eye on the scoreboard, okay? We got a lot to talk about with the Mancini coming in, and we'll do that here. All right, football. You want some football? Let's go. Let's get some football in here for you. All right, so the NFL season. Let's recap what happened with the trade deadline, okay? On the screen right now, you can tell all these players switching. I mean, these are good ball players, okay? Robbie Anderson going to the Cardinals. The guy's always been a good wide receiver. Okay, Christian McCaffrey going to the Niners. James Robinson going to the Jets. Great running back. Robert Quinn going to the Eagles. Kadarius Toney, a young rookie. Maybe he thrives in Kansas City, but it's a good talent to pick up. More talent for Kansas City. More depth. Roquan Smith goes to the Ravens. That's a huge pickup. That's a game changer in the division and possibly a playoff time. That guy is a baller. He's leads the league and team and tackles all the time, right? TJ Hawkinson goes to the Vikings. Man, that's really comforting for the Viking fans. They just got more offensive weapons along with their situation there. And then you have Chase Claypool going to the Bears. And then Bradley Chubb, another huge one. He just signed a 5-year extension. He gets traded from the Broncos to the Dolphins. He's a great linebacker. Okay. Calvin Ridley, who's not playing, just gets picked up by the Jags. That's a huge one. Okay. And then they got is that Himes going to the Buffalo Bills, another big one. Huge stuff, man. So big names, very active trade deadline. Back here in Arizona, we were wondering why could they get their hands on a Chubb. That would have been a game changer for them. Why not Roquan Smith? That's the guy they need. They need they lost out on Jordan Hicks. He's gone to Minnesota and doing what he always does, tackle people. And the Cardinals are having problems with that on the linebacking spot. So you're wondering here in Arizona, what the heck is going on? But maybe they just ran out of bullets. Maybe, they didn't have enough to offer. But when you see a guy like Roquan going for a second and a fifth, something like that, you get a game changer like that. I don't know how the Ravens were able to pull that off unless it's some other side deal going on. Because if other teams were trying to get Smith, I'm sure somebody would try to amp it up a little bit. Give another pick, maybe another fourth round, give another pick, to get the guy. To me, that was a steal. I thought the Ravens stole this guy for what he is. All right. So great trade deadline, very active. We'll see how it all plays out when it comes to, but I think the big one was, McCaffrey to the Niners. That's a game changer for the division. Roquan Smith, and then, Chubb going to the Dolphins. That's a big one. That's a really big one if you really think about it, because what's going to happen to the Dolphins from this point on? They get more defensive help. They got a pretty good defensive team. So I think the Dolphins are going to make a big run here, put some wins together. They're going to put a lot of pressure on the Bills, and the Bills may win outright in that division. But when it comes to the playoffs, the Dolphins got some postseason, playoff kind of team. They got a lot of veterans, experience. They got talent, offense. Watch the Dolphins. The Chubb move is huge. For the Ravens, kind of same thing, because the Ravens defense was getting shattered, man. They couldn't hold leads, nothing like that. Maybe Smith is going to hold and anchor that defense down for the Ravens, and we'll have to wait and see, right? Everything has to play out. We got a long way to go, and if everybody stays healthy, right, that's how we're looking at it, okay? All right, so more news coming around. How about this? You think about quarterbacks, right? Oh, wait. You know what? Let's run this part. Odds to win the NFC. Odds to win the NFC championship, to go to the Super Bowl. The Eagles obviously are at the top. The Cowboys having a good year, folks. The Niners are there. The Vikings there. The Buccaneers, man. People still thinking the Bucs are going to try to figure something out with Tom Brady. The Rams. Oh, the Rams really, but people had the money on the Rams. Rams flipped the switch last year at the trade deadline. The Packers, I don't know. I mean, again, we have to wait and see how November, December plays out. This is it. This is the stretch run as we're at the halfway point, basically. Seahawks, people having some love for the Seahawks. I don't know. I don't believe in that. The Giants, right? Check that out. But the Chiefs, you believe that? Not the Chiefs. That's so funny. The Chiefs are in the AFC. But when you think about it, the Saints are in the top 10. That's crazy. At number 10. That's crazy. All right, let's get that off the screen there. All right, let's move along here. Let's talk about the division, NFC division. If you haven't really, the toughest division right now is the NFC East. Great division. If you look around, the South, the West, the North, everybody is basically below 500. Nobody's above 500. So if you're looking for a winner and you want to put your money down, you're looking at the NFC East and the power right there. But things can change. We've got a long way to go. It's only one half of football so far. Also, the AFC itself, if you want to look at what's going on there, let's try this one right here. It's the same thing. It's the AFC East with the Jets at 5-3, with the Dolphins at 5-3, right? And the Bills with one loss. And here comes the Patriots with their record. So very tough division. I believe it's the best division also. Everybody else, the Chiefs are good, but I don't believe in the Broncos. Chargers haven't shown what they were capable of doing, and the Raiders are just lost in the AFC North. It's really the Bengals and Browns at this point, unless something quickly changes around there. But those teams are formidable teams, of course. But then in the South, it's like Jaguars and Colts. Who knows? The Titans are just going to win that division because they're solid and they're more consistent. And then tonight, it's the Texans. And what's going on tonight in Philadelphia and Houston? Would you believe that at halftime it's 14-14? The Houston Texans at home are tied with the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. Now that right there, if you took the Texans at this point, you're looking good. Pretty much a heavy underdog. But on the road, it's always hard to win in the NFL on the road, even if you're 7-0. We'll see what happens. A lot of chit chat going on how the Eagles are so good and everything else, but you still got to maintain it. So let's see what goes on in Houston with the Texans. They're at halftime right there. All right, we're back on the screen here. All right, so I'm going to break down week 9 of the NFL for you. Okay, week 9 in the NFL. Entering week 9. I'm going to read it to you, then I'm going to flip the screen out and talk to you to feel a little bit, right? But read this with me. Entering week 9, each conference has 4 teams currently the playoff spot that missed the postseason a year ago. Baltimore's 5-3, missed the playoffs. The Chargers missed the playoffs. They're 4-3. The Dolphins are 5-3. The Jets are 5-3. Atlanta's 4-4. They were missing the playoffs. The Vikings is 6-1. The Giants is 6-2. Seattle's 5-3. That's a lot of football teams at this point. A lot of football teams. 17 teams have a 500 or better record. All right, 17 teams have a better than a 500 record in the NFL right now. 26 have at least 3 victories. That means a lot of teams are in it, right? Still in it. So trick or treat, man. Right now it's a treat for a lot of NFL teams and their fan base. A lot of treat. So that ties 2018 fourth most such teams. So many teams at least 3 wins through the first 8 games of the NFL season. Okay. All right. So if you're an NFL team, you got 3 teams, 4 wins, and it's average. You got the whole second half of the year to really flip the switch and go 7-2 or 6-3, and you're right there with a wild card situation, maybe your own division if things don't play out the way people are anticipating, and you're right there in the end. All right, so a lot of teams in the NFL still alive and kicking. This is what the NFL wants, and if you remember, it seems like there's always a select team, not select, but just a few teams around the NFL every year that never makes the playoffs the previous year end up in the playoffs. And right now we have a batch of them, a whole bag of candy of them right there. So now we're November, it's Thanksgiving, and now we'll know what fans are being thankful that their team is still in it to win it going into December and getting that playoff Christmas gift, right? All right. So, with that being said, let's break down week 9 of the NFL. I mean, this is a big deal, folks, because a lot of teams try to stay pace. A lot of teams try to keep wind of everybody else. And, you don't want to fall too far behind. But, if anybody, even a team with 2 wins at this point, if they get hot, we've seen this before. They win 3 in a row, and all of a sudden they're 5-6, and they're on the outside looking in or right around there. And then they win 3 out of 4 or, something like that. And you just don't know how it plays out. You got to finish off the season. Don't quit. All right. 2-6, not impressive, but don't be surprised if a team 2-6 just turns and flips the switch on somebody here. All right. NFL talk. Let's go to this. Number 1 on my list right now with the NFL as we prepare for week 9 is rushing the football. Running the football has come back in the NFL. It's a big deal. If you haven't, I've been saying this to you for a while, folks. The bubble offense stuff is never going to go away. But what's happened is teams are going to have to find a way to change it up. The NFL defenses have figured out all that bubble crap. Okay? It's done. Now, you can still use that bubble. It's part of the offense. It's a part of a game plan and a way of utilizing it, but never should be your prime focus in the NFL anymore. If you're running your offense that way, you're screwed. You're not going anywhere. And there are a few teams we can call out right now that are not doing well. Just not maybe they just don't have any other choice. They just don't have a game plan other than the bubble. It's pretty sad. It's the NFL. It should be creative, right? So the running game has made a major impact of the NFL season. And I told you, the only way you're going to beat and be successful here is if you get away from what's been happening on offense, because all those numbers are skyrocketing because teams were not able to match up well with all that creativity of the bubble stuff. Now they're all there. They got the talent. They drafted well. They match up well on defense and offense. And now they play a different type of football on defense. Okay. But now on offense, I was saying, so you're going to have to change things up. And running the football had to happen. You have to have balance. You have to have balance. The Cardinals had running game last year. They were 7-0, just like the Eagles. But then guys got hurt. The running game fell apart. They had no more running game. Things started breaking down. It was easier to defend them because there was no balance. So the Cardinals did have a nice chemistry last year with the running attack and some of that offense they were throwing out there. Problem is, nobody was throwing deep, long passes, or they couldn't get downfield. Challenge the deep, throw the ball deep. Teams are doing that now because now they have a running game. Teams have a lot of teams. I'm going to give you some numbers here in a second. Teams have a running game. And now you can do play action. You can go under center, hand the ball off. You can fake the handoff. Fake it, then look downfield and hit the big one. Or go 20 yards over 20 yards, okay? It's big stuff, folks. Big stuff. So the numbers are this, okay? 2022 has the highest average rushing per attempt, 4.5 through week 8. Okay, now we're going to week 9. Since 1970, there have been an average of 241 rushing yards per game in the NFL. The most through the first 8 weeks of a season since 1987, 244 yards a game. Since 1970, there have been 17 occurrences of a player averaging over 6 yards per rush, minimum 75 attempts. Through the first 8 weeks of the NFL, here are some names that are rocking it with the ball and running it with the rock, and teams are using it. Obviously, Lamar Jackson at the top because he's a quarterback that scrambles, and he's always been known. He's over 7 yards per carry. But if you're looking for running backs, Tony Pollard of the Cowboys. Now you wonder why the Cowboys are having some success. They got a running attack finally, and Pollard is doing it. Over 6 yards a carry. Jacksonville's Travis Etienne, 6 yards a carry. Khalil Herbert of Chicago, over 6 yards a carry. Okay? Players with at least 75 rushing attempts. Okay? This is what's going on. Teams are running the ball. And if you can't run the ball in the NFL, you're toast. You're done because you can't fool anybody. You're pretty much limited. And this gets back to the old way of playing football. The old way. Run the ball. Stop the run. Right? Stop the run. Those are the two biggest factors right there. And then you got to make your third downs. Make your third downs. Move the chains. Right? That's all it is. And, you got to score touchdowns, and you got to do this. Yeah, right. But if you got a running attack and a run defense, how is Tennessee always surviving every year? Run the football, and they have a defense that can stop the run. They've been getting away with forever, right? Just warning you, folks. If you're a team, that's the chemistry. That's the formula right now. It's back to the old school way. All right, moving along. Chicago Bears lead the NFL in rushing with 188 yards. And the Bears, a team that everybody thought would be a laughing stock this year, is actually relevant. They're in it, not like they're having this standout year, but that running attack is keeping them alive. Okay, third highest rushing average by a team in the first 8 games since 1990, the Chicago Bears. Only trailing the Falcons of 2006 and the Baltimore Ravens of a couple of years ago. That was all that Lamar Jackson stuff, okay? All right, so the running game is back. All right, number 2 on my list for Week 9 is Monday night, the big matchup, New Orleans against Baltimore. We're going to see Roquan Smith in a uniform there. It's the 136th game played this season. This is officially marking the halfway point on Monday Night Football of the 2022 season. That's why it's big. You're at the halfway point now and this weekend. This is it. So you have the second half to flip the switch or increase what you've been doing so well in the NFL. Number 3 on my list, Tampa Bay quarterback Tom Brady has 99,836 career passing yards. he will get to 10. He will get to 100,000 career passing yards. First player in NFL history to accomplish that. If he doesn't get hurt and everything goes well, he'll surpass it this weekend. That includes postseason and things like that. All right. And speaking of the man itself, Tom Brady, right? Look at this, folks. These are the top five passing yards in the NFL. Quarterbacks. Tom Brady is still in the top five. With all the crap, all the negativity around him, the way the Buccaneers are not playing well, and everybody's scrutinizing everything about Brady and the offense and what's going on in Tampa and blame it on who and this and that. Tom Brady is number 2 on this list behind Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Mahomes, and Herbert. I mean, 4 of those 5 guys are the future of the NFL. These are the so-called elite quarterbacks that we're all talking about are going to take the torch, right? With a few more coming from behind now. But Tom Brady, at his age, with that whatever offense he's got going on in Tampa, he's still there. So is it really all Tom Brady? Or is it really Tampa Bay and their balanced attack? They got more issues there. Tom is slinging it, and he's throwing more passes than ever before. That's not a good thing about Tom Brady. Tom Brady needs to hand the ball off more, throw 30 maybe passes a game, 35 at max, and run that ball 25 times, right? Things like that. You put that ball in that area, and Tom can sling it still, but he doesn't have enough weapons, and it's changed. But don't tell me Tom Brady is the reason why, because he's still up there in the numbers. Still doing it, folks. He's still doing it. All right. Let's get back to more news about Week 9 in the NFL, okay? The Rams are going to be playing. Listen, the meeting between the Rams and the Buccaneers, since we're talking about Tom Brady, okay? This is how many times has this happened? 8th time in NFL history that the 2 previous Super Bowl winners meet after, a year ago. And that's marks, actually it's a 27th time. 27th time in the Super Bowl era. 8th time in the past 20 years, basically. So it's happened a lot, okay? But for both teams, this is a big win, a big game to win, because your record, not doing well, right? You're struggling. You're pretty average right now, and makes you wonder, right? What's going on? But if you lose this game, you fall behind. You're struggling, a lot of doubt. But if you win this, what I'm saying is, you're a Super Bowl winner from the last 2 years, these 2 teams. You would think that they would be just as good and strong. That's the impression. Not so. It's not so. But big game, because the loser of that really is going to be in a tough spot. No doubt. Okay. All right. Number 4 on my list, Miami Dolphins spotlight game. And the reason why is their receivers, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, are just fantastic, okay? Both these guys in high numbers of offensive numbers, but that's not the big story only, okay? They have a chance to be the first tandem since, let's see, what year would this be? Gosh, it's since 2000, 22 years ago. Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt, all right? They have a chance, right? Both players, 4 games with at least 100 receiving yards, all right? 3 games which they both surpassed the mark together in the same day, in the same game, okay? And they have a chance to match what Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt did back in 2000, so 22 years later. You would think with all the great offensive numbers going on, you would think this would have happened quite often, but it's not. In a year when numbers are down, it's actually happening, really. So maybe some teams are figuring it out still. They're still keeping the mojo going. All right, so big game, Tennessee at Kansas City. These are 2 teams, 5-2. Yeah, the Chiefs are 5-2. They're 5-2, the Chiefs. Okay. And Tennessee's 5-2. But the Tennessee Titans division, well, guess what? The Chiefs division's not that good either. Okay. It's it's below average. Titans enter the week a 5-game winning streak, folks. Yeah, they started the season 0-2. Remember? Wake me up when September ends. I told you this, folks. Wake me up when September ends, and I'll know more about it in October. And here we are, and now it's November. There you go. That's kind of sums up why I always say that. You just can't just take a slow start in the NFL anymore. We saw the Saints do it 0-3 and flip the switch and make the playoffs. Okay. All right. So Derrick Henry has recorded a career game of 200 rushing yards. Okay. That ties for the sixth time in his career. 200 yards rushing for the sixth time in his career. So Derrick Henry, monster running back, the great one of this era of football. Adrian Peterson did it 6 times. O.J. Simpson, yeah, O.J. He's a Hall of Famer too, folks. Did it 6 times in NFL history. This guy has a chance to do it a 7th time in his career, and he's still pretty much able. He looks great. That's an amazing feat. That's maybe going down as one of the greatest running backs of all time. And maybe as things play out, he may end up being racking up all these numbers to outdo Evan Smith and all the other running backs. Okay, the Chiefs are coming off a bye week. They've done well off a bye week with Andy Reid there. Andy Reid, career-wise, has done well. He's 20-3, Andy Reid, off the bye week. So you're looking for a little extra money. Maybe you put it down on the Chiefs off the bye week. Okay. Chiefs have won 9 consecutive games in November, dating back to week 11. Okay. Okay. So Patrick Mahomes, I wouldn't say that 9 consecutive games after the bye week. Okay. So this goes back all the way back to week 11 of 2019. So the Chiefs under Andy Reid have yet to lose a game following a bye week since 2019. So pretty impressive stuff there. All right. Let's see here. Mahomes. I got enough Mahomes stuff. Number 6 on my list, Jalen Hurts. Right now, the Eagles were tied at halftime, and they're still tied at halftime. Jalen Hurts gets a lot of love. He's 24 years old, has won each of his past 10 games as a starting quarterback. Did you realize that he is 10-0? Jalen Hurts has yet to lose a game as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, that's impressive. Now, who has done this before? A lot of quarterbacks have done that out of the gate, starting football games for the first time in their career. Right? So Jalen's 10-0. Let's see if he goes 11-0 tonight. But Peyton Manning did it. 11 consecutive wins in 1999. Dak Prescott did it 11 times in a row from 2016 as a starter, his first 11 straight starts as a quarterback. Jalen is at number 10. Tonight is starting number 11. He will tie Dak Prescott and Peyton Manning. Now, the one who is leading that is Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, Ben. And Ben did it 15 games in a row. Ben won 15 games in a row, starting for the first time in his career. First 15 games. Maybe Jalen, is in good company, but Dak Prescott hasn't done much with postseason stuff. So we'll see how this plays out. All right. Jared Goff, though, also part of that list, too. No, not Jared Goff. We got to back away. That's a whole different one. We'll skip that. All right. Number 7 on my list through 7 games this season, the Buffalo Josh Allen has totaled all these crazy numbers. His 2,500 combined passing and rushing yards trails only the Hall of Famer Peyton Manning. Yeah, Peyton Manning combined yards in 2,000. Five and 3, and a little quarterback issue going on there about Zach Wilson. We'll talk about that with Mancini coming up in about 20 minutes or so. All right, we're watching the World Series, keeping an eye. It's still 2-1, Philadelphia, and a runner on second with 2 outs. And Philadelphia has a chance to tie the game. They just missed a base hit down the line, just foul. So we'll keep you on that. All right, here's a storyline for you. All right, under the radar storyline, okay? There are 3 head coaches in their first NFL season right now. Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel. Minnesota Vikings, Kevin O'Connell. New York Giants, Brian Thable. And then you have Chargers, Brandon Staley, okay? And the New York Jets, Robert Saleh. And Philadelphia's Nick Sirianni. All right. So we have a lot of, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? 7 of them, right? That's what I said. Okay. Whew. Impressive right there, right? But there have only been 2 seasons, which is first year head coaches qualified for postseason in the same year. So out of that big group, only 3 of them are going to make the playoffs by these numbers. That happened in 2008 with John Harbaugh, Ravens, Mike Smith, Falcons, Tony Sparano, I think that was the Dolphins, right? And 1992, it happened with Bill Cowher of the Steelers, Danny Green of the Vikings, and Bobby Ross of the Chargers, I believe, right? Yeah. So while the most first and second year head coaches to make the playoffs in the same season is 5, set in 2008, Tomlin and Wisenhunt in their second season. So, I mentioned some head coaches there. All right, there's four second-year head coaches: Artie Smith, Brandon Staley, Robert Saleh, and Nick Sirianni are all second-year coaches. But the first 3, McDaniel, O'Connell, and Brian Daboll, all first-year coaches, all in the playoff hunt, all looking good. And all 3 making the playoffs hasn't happened since 2008 in their first year. So we'll see what happens there. All right, moving on. Trending. This is trending time here in the NFL, right? 55 games have been played so far in the NFL season. Lead changes in the third quarter or later, right? There have been 55 games with lead changes from the third quarter or later. Okay, so second half action. Not a lot of action early on, but it seems like second half action in the NFL is big. So anybody out there, you're down by halftime, don't worry, because it's by these numbers, the NFL, for whatever reason, second half action has gotten crazy. There have been 37 games in which a team came back to win or tie after trailing in the fourth quarter. Huge, right? That ties last season's number of 37, though. Okay. 1989, it was 37. That's for the third most such games through week 8 of the NFL season. The number 1 on that list, 2006 season, 38. In 2012, 38 teams making comebacks and winning it in the fourth quarter, right? Comeback. So the NFL is all about comeback season. It's a comeback season. And if your team is behind in the win-loss record, maybe it's a comeback season in November, December. So just enjoy that a little bit. All right, another one here. Colts and Patriots, okay? All right. 2 clubs met in week 9. 4 consecutive seasons they've met. Colts earning 3 primetime game victories over the Patriots. And this used to be Manning versus Brady. It doesn't have the same fizzle, right? Sizzle. More fizzle, right? But a lot of numbers in the history with these. But the NFL wants to kind of not reinvent it, but just kind of bring back some memories again, right? Always looking for an angle. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be a good game. Both teams are scrambling up and down all year long, nothing consistent. We thought the Colts would just rock it with Ryan as a quarterback. Now he's been benched, right? We don't know if he's coming back. Does he play this weekend or in week 9? We'll see. All right, now, Baltimore Ravens have had a lead at least 10 points or more of each of their first 8 games this season. The Ravens, right? They're 5-3. How did they lose 3 games? Well, they got Roquan Smith, okay? And that's a big deal. They play the Packers. No, who they're playing? The Saints. They're playing the Saints, okay? Now, Super Bowl era. 10-point lead in each of your first 8 games of the season. It's happened a bunch of times. The Packers are 2011. The New Orleans Saints of 1989. The Giants of 1984. And the Miami Dolphins of 1984, the Giants of 89, and the Saints of 2009. Let's get that right. So Hasn't happened a whole lot, man. It's been 11 years since the team has been blowing leads and blowing a lot of that. That means your defense is struggling. So that's why the Ravens got out, made a big trade. I think they stole it. They stole a great player who will tackle and just, man, he's definitely a missing link for that defense. We'll see how it plays out, but they knew what they had to do. If they can slow it down and they get those leads, they know they have a little bit more better of a defense with a guy like Roquan Smith leading the way as a defensive player. All right. As we're winding down, we're in the 7 o'clock hour. We're in the top. What inning are we in? The top of the 6 now? Still 2-1. Astros up. Justin Verlander throwing some darts now. All of a sudden, Justin Verlander just looks great. Like he looks like he's unhittable right now, it looks like. All right, so I got something for you. I think Cardinal fans may not like this, or I don't know. We'll see. But Patrick Peterson. He's still pissed. Why is Patrick Peterson still pissed about the Cardinals? Why is he not happy that he never got that phone call? Why is it that emails were left on his chair and all the hate mail why were they giving him the hate mail? I can see Patrick Peterson's point of view. The team, who was dropping this on his chair at the facility when he was a Cardinal? It's sad. And this is kind of maybe some of the things that I've been hearing rumblings about the Cardinals. And a lot of players are just, they don't like it. They come here. I think the mystique of coming to Arizona as a free agent, and a lot of those positivities has been dissolving away. And now it's gotten to the point where I don't think anybody really wants to come here. I mean, they had a shot last year to keep it going, and then they just shot themselves in the foot at the end of the year. And now we hear more and more of this stuff coming out. And Patrick Peterson last week against the Cardinals looked great. He looked great. But then again, he's playing the Cardinals offense, which anybody can look great. But his quote right there, I practiced against these guys. How many seasons I was with Kingsbury, right? 2 years. He ran the same exact stuff that I've seen in camp, in practice, the same stuff I saw on tape. So Patrick Peterson knew what was happening. Nothing's changed, Patrick Peterson said about the Cardinals. Now, let's take that information, and now the NFL knows about this. They have the same tape. Nothing has changed in Arizona. That's why it's a struggle. That's why your quarterback can never grow and be what he could possibly be. We don't know. We don't know what's going on in Arizona. Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. The offense will never change, right? It hasn't changed. They can't get away from it, right? They're easy to find. They're easy to locate the ball. They just don't stretch the field. Don't stretch the field. And I've been saying this to you guys for a long time, not just this season. The Cardinals have a problem getting the ball down the field. Christian Kirk last year was the only guy. Then he got dinged up and things kind of changed. And, then Hopkins got hurt and, things started changing and they just couldn't get the ball downfield and they fell apart. They had a nice combination of offense going on there. Can they get back to that? I believe that with Hopkins back, James Conner and getting their running back situation back, they'll have balance. They'll have a lot of balance. Now, can they execute that? Can the Cardinals actually execute and actually fundamentally play sound football, cleaner football, protect the ball, the penalties, right? Tackle people. The Cardinals got to play a cleaner game, a cleaner brand of football. And as of right now, remember I say this, wake me up when September ends, and in October, what's the trick or the treat? Right now, it's a trick. You got all your hope up, but this team is who they are. That's why I always said that. Because you are who you are after, now it's after 8 games. You are who you are. And now you got to change that. If you don't recognize this as a team, any team in the NFL, where you're at, you got to be able to make the changes, adjust. We're all going to wait. Everybody's got injuries in the NFL. It's not just the Cardinals. Everybody's got injuries in some key spots, not just the Cardinals. So there's no excuse there. You can find ways to open up the offense. You have running backs. Benjamin's not a bad running back, right? They just don't know how to run the ball well or execute the running game better. James Conner gained so many yards on just his ability, not just the execution of a play of the linemen and everybody else. James Conner moved the chains a lot of times just on his own will and falling forward and getting an extra couple of yards out of it. That's what you miss. We'll see when he gets back for the Cardinals and see what happens. And Hopkins back, and then I got Anderson. They got some speed back. This Cardinal team can be totally different and totally better in a better direction with 9 more games to go. We'll wait and see. But Patrick Peterson called out the Cardinals, and I've been saying that for a while. You've all woke up to it. I mean, it's amazing how many Cardinal fans, didn't like how I was preaching it for a few seasons. And yeah, it's back. All right, I got some comments coming in. I see you guys. I appreciate it. And Greg, you're in the house. I appreciate it. Robert Castillo says, yeah, players stay away from Arizona now. Yeah, it's the Cardinals got to flip the chemistry, flip the impression, whatever Cardinals had going for a while, that mystique thing or whatever, it's gone. And you can regain it, but it's going to have to be something special the rest of the way. But for free agents, right? Todd's in the house. Let's see. Yeah, Jalen Hurts. Joe Ziambe in the house. Larry. Hey, Larry. Zayat in the house. Jamie Farley in the house. Sammy Parsh in the house. I got you, buddy. Maybe no one wants to go to Arizona. Oh, they want to come to Arizona. It's a great, but you want to win. And if you care about winning, and what is going on with the organization of the Cardinals, it's chaotic. It's a mess. There's no identity of this football team. Who are the Arizona Cardinals? Can they find? Remember, I always told you this. It takes about 4 weeks, maybe 5. I'll give a little cush there to find out who you are in the first 4 or 5 games of the NFL season. What is your identity? Who are you? Getting your game together, because the NFL preseason is not helping. So it takes that month of September. That's why I always told you, wake me up when September ends, because then I'll know whose identity or what. And then we get a better idea. The Cardinals still have no identity. They're soul searching. They're trying to figure out their own game plan, right? And they believe they have the right one. They believe every time. And it shows up to be the same thing. They can't score in the first quarter. They can't find it. You're in week 8 of the NFL, Arizona Cardinals. You're going into week 9. You have yet to score a touchdown in the NFL in the first quarter. All right? The Jaguars figured it out. The Jets have figured it out, the Bears, right? All these lame duck teams have all figured out how to score early. You haven't. Matter of fact, you struggle in the first half. You are the worst first half team in the NFL. The Arizona Cardinals have behind, I believe I saw the stat today, 91% of all their games. They have been behind, let's say 90% of all their games. So like 10% they've been in the lead. That's horrible. But I'm surprised they have 3 wins. That's crazy. Think about it. They found ways to win some games, and God bless them, man, because it could be a disaster right now. It really is feeling like a disaster, right? But in a bigger way. Think about that. But hey, it's the NFL. You found ways to win. You're relevant. You got 3 wins. You're right in it. And now you got the second half of the year. You got 9 games. You can find a way to get this right. You still can do this. You still can figure it out. But I'm not excited about it. We got to see it to believe it, right? We can talk like, yeah, we got this guy back. And everybody's saying the same thing all over the NFL. Every fan saying the same thing over and over again. They all say the same thing, not just you. But who can actually get it right? Somebody's going to get hot. One of these teams below 500 is going to get hot. It's the NFL. Can it be your Cardinals? Will it be your Cardinals? I know you're wanting it and you believe it. So does all the other teams. Somebody, maybe more than one team, is going to figure it out, get hot, and start winning off some wins, boom, boom games here, and they're going to be right at it in December, and there'll be a nice story for everybody to talk about. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be your team? We'll soon find out as we start week 9 of the NFL itself. All right, so I know you guys are all excited about the NFL weekend here. The Cardinals got a game against Seattle. Let's face it, folks. The Cardinals, you lose this game to the Seahawks, you're 3 games behind the division leader. Now, you can say this. A year ago, you had a 3-game lead also in the NFC West, and you blew it. Cardinals blew it. You don't want to go down 3 games. It's just like, you don't want to, but it is Seahawks, and I don't really truly believe the Seahawks are this first place team that's going to win the division, but hey, so far we're being we're being tricked here or fooled here. I don't know, but for real, Seahawks are playing sound, consistent football, not making a whole lot of mistakes. They got the highest rating quarterback in Geno Smith. He's better than Kyler Murray. Yeah, he's better than Kyler Murray. Yeah, but we didn't have IHOP. No, D-Hop, I know. We didn't have a running backs. We didn't have. What does Seattle have? They got an aging receiver that's still catching balls. They got no tight ends, right? Guys you don't know about, at least, right? They got a offensive line that somehow has been put together and doing great because they're running the ball. Because that's what they do. But they got a quarterback in Geno Smith. Yeah, that guy that you all laughed about. That guy who couldn't find a job a couple of years ago. That guy who was all over the map. He's the number 1 rated quarterback in the NFL. And if that guy maintains that and stays close to that level, and I don't believe he can maintain it. It's hard. But I don't know. Maybe Geno's figured it out. Maybe this system is perfect and he's got it right because he's playing better than Russell Wilson. I mean, they knew what they were doing in Seattle. They made decisions, tough decisions. Don't you wish your Cardinals were able to do that? But thinking about the Cardinals, they lose this game. They're 3 games behind with 8 games to go. And then they're in that position where they got to just get super hot at the time of the year where they're never super hot. They're always cold. And we're entering that part. We got to, see what happens. But the Cardinals got to win. They got to get a winning streak. You just can't win and lose 2 and win and lose 2. You're done. You got to win. You got to win at home. Right? And you got to beat Seattle. You beat Seattle, guess what happens? You're right back into the division race. You're not 3 out, you're 1 out, right? You're there right there with the Niners and the Rams. Like you're there. A game off here and there, right? You're right. That's big. And if you don't go to that stadium, State Farm Stadium fans, with an attitude of playoff football mentality, and you're waiting for the mistakes, you're waiting to boo, I get it. It's not fun. It hasn't been pretty. But you got to go in there and realize this is like you're at that pivotal point of the season where for the division, you're going 3 games back or 1. And you know what you want. Okay? Big game, man. Big game for the Cardinals for that division. They don't pull it off. Man, we're talking a lot of stuff after that game, right? Here we go. Cardinals. Comments coming in. Appreciate it. Kathy, no, not worried about the Seahawks. I don't know because I'm worried about the Cardinals still. I got to see what's going on. Who's that? Kathy said that. All right. Let's go to the top of the list. Janet in the house. Valerie Kemp in the house. Hey, Valerie. Another UK one. Victoria Contreras. How you doing? Paul Jordan in the house. Thank you, guys. It's a whole bunch of you there. I appreciate you popping in. All right. A quick score on the NFL. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are now up 21-7. Third quarter is about to end here, and they're up 7 points, trying to go 8-0. And Jalen Hurts trying to go 11-0 as a starting quarterback, and tying a couple other Dak Prescott and Peyton Manning as two quarterbacks going 11-0. Big Ben did it 15-0. Okay, all right. Looking around here. You know what's your comments? Anybody say? Let's see here. No, okay. I want to make sure I got you guys. All right, all right. I'm going to wait for Mancini to pop on here in a little bit here as we're getting close to his time. As Philadelphia and Houston, big night in sports. Houston and Philadelphia playing Thursday night football. And then we got the Phillies playing the Astros, both Philly and Houston going side by side, right? Texans had the Eagles, man, at halftime tied. They're going nuts in Houston. They're going to upset the undefeated Eagles. We'll see what happens. I know the Eagles are winning. Now here comes the Philadelphia Phillies. They're down by 1 in the bottom of the 6th. We're going to monitor this game a little bit because now it's the nitty-gritty. Remember I told you this. Did the Astros go to their bullpen too much last night? Up 5-0, 7-0, all that no-hit stuff seemed like more of what they wanted to do is finish the no-hit. But maybe you could have saved an arm or two. Okay? Or they needed work. We're going to find out. Okay? If these guys with no days rest can come back-to-back days. They're good bullpen, but we're going to find out. In the bottom of the 6th, Justin Verlander has just been dominant after let's see, the last 5 innings or last 4 innings. So we'll see what's going on in Philadelphia here. If you're not watching this with me, you know, you can watch me, watch the games. I mean, it's all over the place. It's good times. I'm loving it. All right. I got a few things for you here. How about this number right here? Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys are 6-0. They're 6-0 wearing the blue uniforms. Yeah, 6-0 wearing the blue uniforms. Wasn't it always when they wore the blue uniforms, they never would win? They struggled. They were always known, like, don't put them in the blue uniforms. The Philadelphia Eagles always made the Cowboys wear blue uniforms in Philadelphia. Okay? And it had a history that they would struggle with the blue. They would struggle with the blue, and it was always that Dallas Cowboy white uniform. But this season, they're 6-0 wearing their blues. The last 6 games wearing the blue. I wouldn't even say this season. The last 6 games of Cowboy history. And we'll see what happens. Maybe they need to be a road team to wear those blues this year. Okay. Sad news around the NFL. Ray Guy, Hall of Famer, dies, 72 years old. First ever punter to be selected in the first round of the NFL draft. And he was worth every penny, everything. This guy probably made that Raider defense better than what it was getting credit for or what it was being told. I mean, the Raiders were a great team in the 70s, but when you had a Ray Guy that was, basically putting offenses in deep territory, meaning, way back at their own goal line. The guy had a gift of hang time. The guy had a hang time that by the time the ball came down, the whole entire freaking team of the Raiders were surrounding the return guy. The guy had no room. Never had room to run, it seemed like. And if Ray Guy wanted to put the ball at the 1-yard line, like a dart player with his foot, he puts it at the 1-yard line. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I would watch that referee when the ball goes out of bounds inside the 20-yard line, putting his hand up like that and doing this, and it stops like inside the 5. The guy was a master at dropping that ball inside the 5-yard line. I don't have the numbers on it, but I'd be highly surprised that he had a whole bunch of these touchbacks. I don't think Ray Guy, it sounds like, it just, that Ray Guy never had a touchback. That's the way, when you watch Ray Guy punt the football, you think like Ray Guy never kicked the ball in the end zone, seemed like. That's how great he was. 72 years old, a little too young to die. But what a career, what a legend He's a legend of punters, and everybody else. There's some great punters out there, but never. He's the Babe Ruth of punting. You get that, right? He's the Babe Ruth of punting. Ray Guy. And unfortunate Ray is not with us. All right. I went back and said something earlier. I was going to save it for. I'm going to save it for Mancini. I'm going to bring it back to him in a little bit. Maybe I'll hold off. Okay, let me get into this. Let's see here. I'm looking at more football for you to pop on you. Okay, all right. I got the cowboy thing out of the way. I'm looking at the big night thing. It's all a lot of baseball there for you. Tug McGraw and his daddy stuff. How about this? George Brett, legend, third baseman, Kansas City Royals. He hit 390. The last one to get as close to hitting 400 in baseball was George Brett hitting 390. Okay. He says he wants to see freaking baseball box scores back in the newspaper. Well, for one thing, there's not a lot of newspapers circling around the Major League Baseball cities anymore. Okay, that's for sure. But maybe, watching, picking up the scores on the internet. I mean, there's a way of putting the box scores. You know what the box scores used to be? You would open up the newspaper, and George Brett, thank you for saying this, because maybe this is one reason why the popularity with the youth may have gone off a little bit. The box scores allows you to really read a lot more. They have box scores on the internet, like you open up ESPN or you go to the foxsports.coms or any of those things, and you got to click on the game, and then you can hit the box score and read it. Okay. And it does show it. It's there. But is there a better way of doing it? Now, putting it in the newspaper, nobody's reading newspapers anymore. Oh, Granddaddy is. That's about it. So I understand his point. Okay. But I don't think it was well taken, because it looks like he's out of touch. Because, again, there's box scores all over the place. You just, it used to be easily done where you just opened it up and it was right there. Right? It was right there. And, the back page, it had everybody's stats. Like Sunday's newspapers had the number one hitter in baseball to the worst hitter in baseball. And you would go in there and you would watch your team, your players that you rooted for. And you would, because you never really had a lot of access to stats like you do today. Today, you're overabundance of stuff. It's easy to find this. But if you're an older person, maybe not equipped with all the social media stuff, maybe, just maybe, this will be helpful. But the accessibility to it makes sense. I think George meant well by this, but I think he missed the boat on this one. Where it's there, but it's not in the newspapers. And he said newspapers, but nobody's reading the newspapers. Nobody's buying the newspaper. They're practically giving it away. Okay. And I can't recall the last time I saw anybody reading a newspaper. I'm trying to think now. This is pretty sad. I'm from New York, and man, you get on a bus or a train, everybody had a newspaper. It was like this. Rocking back and forth, the train, people reading. People would do that too, just because they didn't want to be disturbed in New York, right? You had the lady hanging on the railing up top, people sitting below, and you're reading the newspaper with one hand. But George Brett, man, you're from the 1970s, 1980s. The newspaper was big back then. It was big. But to say that putting box scores back in the newspaper, come on, George. I love George Brett. I hated him as a player because he was so good. That's what happened. But you respect his ability. But there's box scores all over the internet. We don't need, and you just got to know how to find it. But I understand the point. But it's just a little far-fetched. All right, Mark Mancini joining the show right now. Mark, what's your thought about this? George Brett saying we need box scores back in the newspapers.
Yeah, I remember that. Remember those things. Yeah. Well, but, you know what? Sometimes, on the East Coast, if you're ever visiting back there, you don't even get the West Coast scores in the paper.
Right.
They come late. So, yeah, a lot of things have changed, man, with the newspapers. And, God, what happened to Sports Illustrated, Sport Magazine? I know I got a few of them laying around somewhere. Playboy, all them other things.
Come on, Mark. You only looked at the Playboy for the NFL predictions, right?
think I got. You know what? I wonder if I got one of those
But
Dorothy
Dad,
Stratum ones.
it's the NFL predictions.
Yeah,
He's like, put the Playboy down.
yeah. I remember those days.
Anyway,
Dude, what's going on with your Arizona Cardinals, man? What's going on? Nobody saw the Seattle Seahawks coming, and if anybody says they did, they're full of crap.
Kathy, one of our listeners and viewers, she said she's not worried about Seattle. And I know her point, because do we truly believe in Seattle yet? That's like
Hey,
one
they
of
were
those stories.
Let me tell you something. They were projected to win 5 games. They've tied it, and I don't care what's going on in New York and Philly with the great runs these guys have had, the Bowl and Sirianni, but Pete Carroll's been doing it with auto mechanics, car wash cleaners, and everything up there in Seattle. This is his best coaching by far, losing all the guys that he's lost. You can go back Bobby Wagner's, you can go back to Russell Wilson's, and you can go further back to all that, the Legion of Boom.
Yeah, I was explaining a little earlier, and I'm going to just throw it at you. If Cardinals lose this game, they go 3 games behind the first place lead, Seattle Seahawks, at this point. And that's big for your division. A year ago, the Cardinals were up 3 games and they blew it. So things like those things can happen. We witnessed it here. But you don't want to go 3 behind. You win this game, you're 1 behind, and you're right in the thick of things. And it's been an ugly season, and maybe the season flips into their favor for the first time in the second half of the year. I'm not banking on it, but you got to win this game, Arizona. You got to win this game, because the division is going to get your shot at winning the title.
Something. Can you imagine San Francisco if they had Kyle Pitts and they didn't pull that trade to get Trey Lance in the draft to move up? I mean, can you imagine Pitts, Kittle, Samuel, McCaffrey, Garoppolo? Yeah. I mean, this would have been a dangerous team. And, the way this thing is shaking, it could be the Eagles and 49ers. You got the Vikings in the mix here as number 3. We broke this thing down from the start. Can we find 6 teams here? Green Bay's dead. The Rams haven't figured it out. They've been exposed. They have just been, torn from one side of the country to the other. They figured out the, Stafford, the Cooper Cup mentality. Their defense, the offensive line is garbage. You're relying on a 40-year-old Andre Whitworth there. I mean, come on, man. The Rams aren't going. And you know what? I don't care what Ram fan tells me that they beat the 49ers last year. That was luck. You've been chasing the 49ers since pretty much 5 decades, even when Jim Everett took a phantom sack there against them in the heyday with Montana and all those guys.
The Cardinals are in a position where not only for their fans, the losing faith, everything about this is I called out the fans this week on the show just a moment ago. I said, if you don't show up on Sunday and act like this is a playoff environment, I mean, you got to make it a playoff environment, because it's that big of your season. You can't go 3-6. It gets a lot harder. Now, the NFL is strange this year, and 3-6 still you get hot, and you can find a way to slip in there. And there will be a team who's like 3-6 that's making the playoffs, or at least having a shot. I mean, it's like never over till it's over. But you don't want to be 3-6. Your division title chances are on the line. Like, this is a big game. If you walk in there with the attitude like, we'll see what happens, man. Like, F Kingsbury, I get all that, man. But you can't give up as fans. You got to get in that stadium and rock it. You got to rock that stadium, because this is that big of a deal. It's not just Seattle. It's the season stuff. It's November. Everything about November, December, where your Cardinals choke or blow away the season that way, meaning you falter.
Well, not only that, a day before my birthday, they're out here playing the Rams. Right. And that could be a make or break for either one of those teams, depending on what happens this week. But
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. When you look at 2 divisions and they both reside in the East, the AFC East and the NFC East, let me tell you something. People can laugh at Washington at 4-4 and say they're dead last. I'd rather be in Washington's position at 4-4 than Atlanta's position leading the NFC South at 4-4, because let me tell you something. At least the Skins are getting tested in that division. They got to keep winning every week. These other teams that are playing around, Minnesota hasn't been tested. They're blowing out the division. It's all done with. Green Bay, Chicago, and Detroit are done. You know, I'm telling you, man, this week you might see Washington pull a stunner on Minnesota.
Minnesota's a good team, but we got to wait and see. I think we got to wait and see still because the season's been strange enough.
You can get by 3-6 in the NFC. You're not going to get by 2-6 in the AFC like the Steelers. The Steelers are dead.
I mean, they had a running. You know, you brought up the Steelers. Okay, let's bring up Ben. This is what Big Ben said. This is awesome stuff. Since you brought up that part, okay. Where am I going here? Big Ben. He's frustrated. He's a Steeler, and you know he's a legend, right? So here's Big Ben, right? And he kind of looks like a good OC or a head coach, doesn't he? Look, you know, that's when he was hurt and something like that. He says, if I'm a coordinator, this is what he said. I'm throwing the ball deep on the first, second, and third down. I'm not throwing 5-yard passes. I'm not throwing the 3-yard pass. I'm getting it down. This is Ben, right? Now, this is awesome stuff, right? And this is what we've been talking about. And this is the Cardinal problem. This is exactly what the Cardinals are dealing with. It's like mirroring it, right? Frustration. All right, here's Ben again. He was on like some radio show, something like this, right? Pittsburgh ranks dead last in the league, yards per attempt of 6 yards, right? And the 2-time Super Bowl champ Big Ben quote, you can read it with me. You have nothing to lose, he said at this point on a podcast. I'm literally saying I'm throwing the ball. I'm deep, first, second, third down. I'm not throwing the 3-yard pass. I'm not throwing it. Right now, it doesn't have to be a deep 7-step drop. Like, I know you're worrying about protection. You can catch it and throw the ball 10 to 12 yards downfield, et cetera, right? Ben is right. And you know, we watched him take over the offense last year when he was aging and it was done. But he got his team into the playoffs with the same offensive system that you're seeing now. Now it's not Big Ben, and now the Steelers are 2-6.
Well, the problem there is their offensive line is weak.
It was weak last year. It was weak last year. Remember that.
Not Najee Harris is having a little bit of an off year, and there's no accountability. You know, Tomlin's not holding people accountable.
Right.
You know, they blew Chase Claypool out of there, who's not going to do anything with the Bears. But the one thing, you know, when you look at Justin Fields over there, it's pretty remarkable. He leads the league in deep yardage attempts.
I'm not surprised, and that's why they got Claypool. They need to open up the offense. They have one of the best running attacks, or the best running attack in the NFL. They're the best running team. They're looking for more balance. They got Claypool in that trade.
Well, if you know, and another question came up: who would I take between Juju Schuster and Tyler Lockett? I think I'm taking Tyler Lockett day in and day out.
He's a gamer. He's a winner.
Yeah.
You know, he makes the plays in the big moments. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we're at the top of the 7th. The Phillies just had a chance to tie the game, and Schwarber just grounds out with runners on first and second. So now we're in the bullpen. The Phillies bullpen has been great. They have been great. They've had one bad inning, and that was yesterday when Alvarado, whatever his name is, gave up those hits when Nola just lost it in that inning, and then he lost it. You know what I'm saying. But since then, their bullpen's been fantastic, and we're hearing a lot about the Astros bullpen, which is good.
The throwbacks are good, man. You see the throwbacks?
Yes, I know. So I got the monitor. I'm watching the game as I'm talking. So anyway, I have a question for you too, and it's a baseball question. It's about they went for the no-hitter last night, knowing that they were up 5-0. They win 7-0. The Astros. Why did they have to go use their bullpen, their best bullpen? Like, I know it's the World Series. You're down 2-1. You don't want to take a chance, right? But at the same time, you are got to play a game tomorrow, and there's no rest day for your bullpen. You know?
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. I've been blessed enough to see a perfect game and a no-hitter, but I don't understand, and I'm not going to question Dusty Baker. I don't know why he didn't let the kid just keep going to finish out the gem. The Astros have been noted to do this. They threw 2 of them against the Yankees, combined no-hitters. and now to throw one on the Phillies. The second, no hitter in World Series history. I'm surprised he didn't go the distance in this thing, but I think now we got a series, my friend. This is going to get interesting. This might go 7 games.
Well, leadoff bloop double by Gurriel. He's nobody out. He's on second base. It was a bloop over second base that nobody can play, and then the ball hits off a glove and then scoots away, and he jogs into second. So the Phillies got their workout out from right now. With the Astros folks, come on, man. With all the attention they get, how great this team is, their pitching has basically been saving them because they haven't scored. They were shut out 16 straight innings against the Phillies. They scored about one big run yesterday. So one inning out of 21, they scored runs in, only one. And today they got 2 runs. What I'm getting to, the Seattle games, the Yankee games in the playoffs, they weren't really putting numbers up. They just had some timely hits. And I thought Philadelphia, with the offensive output they were having throughout the postseason, they've been struggling since yesterday, and they only got 1 run today.
Yeah, you know what? Let's look at it. They might be partying too much too. The Eagles are undefeated. You got the
They're winning
Flyers
again.
that got the Broad Street Bullies in there. They mixed it up with the Rangers the other night. The Philadelphia Unions in the MLS Cup going against LAFC. I mean, everything's coming up rosy in Philadelphia. Can you imagine being in Brooklyn these days? What a joke that is, man. I mean, you're going to hold people accountable. And I know when things don't go right in
We're talking NBA right now.
Yeah.
We're talking Brooklyn Nets.
I noticed in the NBA when things don't go right, you got the players questioning it, which rightfully so. They should bring it up. But when your own player does something, why didn't you call him into question?
I agree.
Why isn't he brought to the carpet? Why isn't accountability part of this equation?
Because he was a part of the banana boat, right?
Yeah. No, it just doesn't make sense. And then he had a chance to really clarify what he said. And Brooklyn said, hey, you know what? We're not going to have none of this, man. Time for you to go.
He has an opinion, and I don't believe in cancel culture. And you like it or not, I mean, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the same way. He was a very loud activist as a basketball player. He changed his name. He was anti a lot of things, and he had a very successful career, and he kept on playing. But for whatever reason, we're canceling people out on their, like it or not, if it's disgusting or not. I mean, it just, we can't just cancel people out for like that. It's a very, I think the stand with the vaccine he did, I think that was a good one because I thought that was a medical choice in more ways than one, and people should have a choice if they want to take it or not. And I can get ripped on it. I don't care. Right.
But, he took a stance and he said, you know what? The money's not important. I'm not going to take the shot. And that was a big thing where, you got to, honor somebody's opinion, whether it's right or wrong to certain people. But I think this other thing is a situation where, it's just, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with the NBA today. And it's
not the Phoenix Suns, man, and the Milwaukee Bucks. We're going to have a rematch of the way these teams are playing.
It's a far. Yeah. Look at the Milwaukee Bucks, my Milwaukee small market Bucks 6-0. And yet you got, all this stuff going on with the NBA today, and they're burying Westbrook over here. You got to bury a guy when he's dead, not alive. I mean, Westbrook's not the problem.
That's what I'm saying. Cancel culture. Everybody wants to just, everybody's bitching. Like, that's what it is. And everyone's, it's like they want to just eliminate you. And nobody gives a shit the next day. I mean, this is how I'm talking. No, because that's how I feel. Nobody cares. So, all right, and on to the next one. On to the next one.
Yeah, that's what's happening in with the way it's going today. Kind of like Elijah Moore with the Jets. Aren't you supposed to bitch when you're losing? You don't bitch when you're winning. What are you doing, man? What are you doing? The team is 5-3. What are you complaining about? See, this is the kind of guy I'd blow right out of town and just say, "Get out of here, man. Just time to go. Time for you to go, man. No need for you to be in my system."
All right, I got to wrap up. Not wrap up. I got to recap what just happened in the World Series. Okay, so the leadoff double ends up being a no out. The guy goes to third base on a wild pitch. Runner on third for the Astros, nobody out. Sack fly, anything, scores a run. Big 2-run lead late in the game, right? Next batter, ground ball third base, holds the runner at third, 1 out. Next batter, soft ground ball to shortstop. Gurriel, why he's thinking he wants to go home. He's in a rundown, he's out. Now it's 2 outs, runner on second, and an 0-1 count here. Here we go. 2 strikes. They may get out of this inning preserving that 2-run deficit, the Phillies, going into the bottom of this. This is, we'll see. I mean, Maldonado was up. Remember Maldonado? He was called out on a baseball bat with Pujols because the bat is more alive, by the way.
Right.
The choice of bat he was using was illegal bat.
Well, what's not alive is these Amazon Prime games that keep getting put on Thursday, man. What kind of yawners on tonight? The Eagles and Texans.
The score was last 29-17 Eagles. 9 minutes to go in the game, and it was 14-14 at halftime. Brother, it was there, man. It was there. All right, I'm anxious. If you're watching the game with me or not, but if you're not and you're just chilling out, here's a 1-2 pitch. Popped them up, out of play. I mean, this is tension. You can see the Philly fans they're desperate because they only got 1 run scored since game.
Well, you're talking about that. I want to talk about, because there was this big story on the Mullet Arena in the Arizona.
Oh, I got it for you. Hang on. Don't keep talking, but
man, oh man.
Now you got to come to Arizona. We got to go to the Mullet. Come on, man.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the yeah. You know what? We're not paying $200 a ticket. We're just going to cover the game.
The Phillies got out of the inning, man. Runner on third, no outs. They're going nuts in Philly. Let's see if they can rally around this in the 7th inning stretch. That's a cool moment. That's a cool moment. All right, let's see if that's a pivotal play too. Let's see if it comes back and haunts.
Now, did the Rangers came out there, right? Already?
Rangers. That's the game you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me. You set it up. Set it up.
Well, from what I heard is, there's like 4,000 fans that it's capacity there and it's for the next 3 years. But the students at ASU can buy tickets for is it $100?
No, less than that. Way less.
Or $50, $25.
Yeah, it's a student rate. It's a student.
Student rate, and then everybody else is not paying $25. They're paying well over $200, $300 to get in that joint. Especially, can you imagine? And I don't know what it was with the Rangers, but can you imagine? You get the Flyers, the Canadians, the Penguins. Some of these big, heavy artillery teams coming in. I could just imagine the Rangers must have just bought the place, and it looked like Madison Square Garden West, was it?
Hang on. I'll tell you this much. They gave all the fans a mullet wig for the Mullet Center, right? So everybody had a mullet. Now it's got this cool vibe about it. It's a must-sing thing. The players of the Ranger fans were there too. They say it was the most chaotic, wild, fun, festive game. They were shocked because it's a small arena, but the ceiling is low, right? You got to remember the ceiling is low. So a low ceiling, it gets louder. The acoustics get louder. All right, I'm trying to pop on this. I had some.
I mean, can you imagine the Rangers must get more fans I think they practice in Rye, New York. They must get more fans showing up to see their practices than they showed up in Arizona.
They do. Absolutely do.
And I can't imagine when the Islanders come out there. I mean, or some, I'm telling you, some of these the Bruins, the Flyers, the Penguins, the Red Wings.
Yeah, they play tonight. I want to see if they won tonight.
Nobody cares when Winnipeg or some of these other teams come in there, but I can rest assured. Wait till the big market teams come in. I think Florida is in there, right? Is Florida in there
tonight? I'm trying to get the score. It's freaking slow on my screen. All right, here we go. We got. Oh, come on! What are you doing to me? I had the scores right in front of me. All right, here we go. Coyotes tonight. I know the fans already know this already because I'm not following it. They're getting killed in
Wow.
the first period. They're losing 4-0 in the first. So, all right. The other night they were down a few goals and they made a comeback and won. So let's see what
Hey, I'll
happens
tell
here.
you one thing. The guy that they could say whatever they want about Phil Kessel, but that Iron Man streak he's come. I mean, I think it's the best in all sports because coming into the league with Toronto and Boston and all that, and finding a
Yeah,
home in
yeah,
Pittsburgh,
yeah.
it is amazing what the Hedgehog has done.
I'm so bummed I didn't have my coyote thing ready for you. Oh, I'm so bummed. Oh well, it was a pretty good one too. All right, hey, I threw this up earlier. Right? Football wise. Oh, this is no. I'm going to think baseball real quick. You saw what Schwarber said, right? Last night after the game about the no hitter.
I didn't hear that. I heard something
Right.
about it, but
There it is. I really don't give a shit.
yeah,
Nope. Move on to tomorrow. And what does he do at his first at bat? He leads off the bottom of the first with a home run.
yeah.
He quickly shut everything down. Every that's a great. I
I'll tell
mean,
you one thing. If he eats a couple more cheesesteaks, he'll look like John Kruk.
he's better than Kruk, man.
Yeah.
I can't see how this guy.
I've always liked, you know what? I've always liked Schwarber. Even when he was in Chicago, I knew he got a bad rap and then went to Washington. They had a good year and then Boston. But man, oh
Oh,
man, he fits Philly. And I told you a couple of years ago, man, they could say whatever they want about Bryce Harper, but Bryce Harper to me plays the game like Pete Rose.
you know, uh, I'm a fortunate and very happy Yankee fan, but that Bryce Harper free agency still pisses me off. Okay, so for one, it's Bryce Harper. He's a gamer, right? He's a great player. Okay, but the money they spent, and then they go out and they go get Stanton in a trade and take in all that freaking money. What a waste! Like the decision making. But a lot of teams made some poor choices, signing big contract guys. Right? Bryce Harper is always an MVP. The only thing Bryce has a problem with, he gets dinged up, he gets
Yeah.
hurt, and he'll miss some action. But if you got him in October and you got him in November World Series like they do here, he comes up with the big hit. He did it with the Nationals, you know that, and he's doing it here with the
Well, I
Phillies
think,
too.
you know what? In the comparison where I was and people compared was, I take him over Trout any day of the week.
Yeah, because they came in kind of together, right? I mean, that's
Right.
kind of right. I mean, and that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. My eyes are looking at the Phillies here. The crowd's going nuts. They're anxious for something to happen.
It's kind of like the Peyton Manning Tom Brady wars. I always thought Tom Brady was much better quarterback. He would deliver much more than Peyton Manning. I was never a big Peyton Manning guy, but when you start to compare, or you could do it with Crosby and Ovechkin. I love I'm not going to be biased, but I think Crosby makes everybody around him better. Ovechkin just is 100 goal scorer a year, and the Capitals have underachieved. Let's
He
face it;
he he
they
just
should have
scored
more
again.
cups.
Ovechkin scored tonight, so he's chasing that title, that the all-time
Yeah, but
scoring.
you know what? In my mind, nobody beats the Edmonton Oilers with Gretzky and all those guys. Nobody beats Wayne Gretzky for bringing hockey out to the West Coast. And to me, when I look at Ovechkin, he reminds me of a Yammer Yager type. All he can do is score. He doesn't make everybody around him better because it shows the Capitals only have one cup, and they've been up in that realm of things, kind of like the Dodgers for like 8-9 seasons. He should have more than one cup.
I agree. All right now it's bottom 7. Astros pitcher Abreu, who pitched last night, is only throwing 10 pitches. And for the Phillies, this is what I'm looking for. You got to get on base. You got to make this guy throw more.
Yeah.
To rally here. And right now, they can't touch this guy. So we'll watch this game closely. All right. Also, speaking of Tom Brady, look at this stat. This is crazy stuff. Everybody talks about Tom's issues and how bad that Buck offense has gone lately. Tom Brady's number 2 in the NFL with total passing yards.
Yeah.
Number 2, and around him are all the young guns, right? All the young guys are there. All the future or the now guys in the NFL, and Tom's on the way out. But Tom's right there, man. You got to give him credit. I mean, it's obviously more than just Tom. Tom's not only Tom is doing what he can, but I think there's bigger issues in Tampa Bay than just all that stuff around Tom Brady.
They've been beset by injuries. Julio Jones hasn't quite panned out. I really think they're going to bust open against the Rams Sunday. I really do. I think the Rams are just a complete clown show. They've been exposed at home. Buffalo's come in there. Dallas has come in there. The 49ers, they've all ran roughshod on them.
Let's put the Rams in perspective, okay? I mean, they won the Super Bowl, but before the trade last year, all the trades, they were shitty. Remember how bad they were?
Well, not only that, even when you looked at their playoff run, the ball goes here, the ball goes there. Tampa knocks them out. The 49ers knock them out. The Rams aren't in the Super Bowl.
Well, the Rams were the Bucks were beating them. They made that big comeback, and then they allowed that team to get right back down the field. That was give the Rams credit. They pulled that one off. But to bank on that team to be able to repeat or come close to it, they were just like the cap. They were just
well. The problem
patched together. They were patched together, Mark.
Yeah, they have no running game. Akers is not they haven't had a running game in Los Angeles. You'd have to go back to Sony Michel. I liked him, but you'd have to pretty much go back to Eric Dickerson. When was the last time the Rams have had a running game?
Well, they were trying to establish the running game last year, the year before. They were doing well when Goff was the quarterback. They had a running, they were effective, but it seems like it's all gone away, and they're kind of like where the Cardinals are. They're just obviously easy to figure out. Now, if Cooper Kupp is hurt, which he is, and he doesn't perform, who are they, and who are their weapons?
Well, there's no Von Miller there. Aaron Donald's pretty much held in check. Jalen Ramsey's in Stephon Diggs' back pocket. I mean, when you look at some of these, I mean, the dude they picked up from the Bears, where the hell is he?
Right.
Where is that guy? I mean,
I agree.
I agree. And as Stanford goes down, they're completely done. I mean, it's just they McVay. The problem with McVay is he reminds me of like a stressed out dude on like 5 Brave Bulls or something, man. I mean, the dude, man. I mean, it's just every time you see the guy, he's like stressed out when they lose and trying to figure it all out. They're on it. It's going to get tougher for the Rams. When you look at Tampa, they got to go to Green Bay. I think they got to go to New Orleans. They got, home games against the Raiders, the Broncos, the Chargers in December. I mean, this is, this Ram team could find himself, going from, the penthouse to the outhouse real quick.
All right, we go to the 8th inning. Bryce Harper pops out. The Phillies go quietly in the 7th. So things are tight nails and everything in a pivotal game 5 of the World Series.
Meanwhile, the Eagles have shot down the Texans.
Yeah, it's over. It's 29-17 with 3 minutes to go. So Philly looks like they'll at least get one win tonight, but the big one is the World Series, obviously. It's all right, look at this thing right here. Philadelphia. Angelo's Pizzeria, South Philly, refused to provide the catering to the visiting team, the Houston Astros. If you think I'll cook for the Astros, you're out of your mind, as a Philly owner said in a video posted to the eatery's Instagram account. We said no to them.
Wow.
It happened twice. 2 owners down there would not provide the catering. The operation manager of the Astros, hey, we got a big order for you. We got we're the Houston Astros, World Series. We'd like to have an order. It's like it's gonna make you a lot of money. Like your business is gonna do really well. Forget about it. Yeah, take this cheesesteak and stick it up your like. This is Philly
Wow.
for you, man. You had
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you, doing radio in Philly and living in Los Angeles, I know Los Angeles is a bigger market than Philly,
right.
but let me tell you, man, the passion and drive and desire of those people in Philly, it's amazing, man.
It is different.
It,
It's a
it,
lot
it,
different.
you know, Philly compared to LA is smaller, but yet those people know that you can't pull anything over those people. They know their sports, man.
Hey, man, you saw the Niners overtake that stadium, Rams Niners. I mean, it was all Niner fans in there. Uh, there's like somebody asked me about this, and I said, somebody's popping on. I don't know who it is. Pond Bear. Who's Pond Bear? I don't know who. Somebody's popping on the screen. I don't know. They're not. Are you moving? Should I just roll with this? This is like
Yeah.
raw podcast. Let's see. Pond Bear. What the heck is Pond Bear?
Conda Bear?
That's
What's
what
up,
you get.
boys?
Hey, how you doing, man? I don't
Good.
see your face. I was hoping to see your beautiful stuff, man.
My cam doesn't work.
Oh, okay. What's going on, buddy? I appreciate you popping on.
Not too much. Just hanging out in my room, chilling on StreamYard.
So, are you watching? You're watching the games tonight? Anything going on? Are you watching the World Series?
Yeah, the World Series game's going crazy right now. Close game.
Who are you rooting for?
Oh, I mean, there's only one answer: the Phillies. You know,
There he is. Where's the Pond Bear reside?
Where you from, man?
Oh, I'm from Iowa, but there's no way I want to see the Houston Astros win a World Series. You know
That's
what I mean?
fantastic. So, are you a big Hawkeye fan or a Cyclone?
I like the Cyclones.
All right, okay. They kind of remind me of my alma mater, Arizona State, with their uniforms, their colors. There you are. Whoa! Look at this guy.
Whoa, Pond Bear, what's going on?
You knew that was coming.
Yeah. What the hell? Pond Bear's opening at the Playboy, man.
Well, I guess he's pissed. I guess he's bored tonight. I don't know.
Jeez, man. Oh, man. I knew something was coming with Pond Bear there, man.
Hey, man, I never should listen to Mark Mancini. You told me to do it.
Pond Bear, hey, I'm from Iowa. He's sitting there. You know, old McDonald had a farm, and then he comes on, and here we go.
I just banned him. He's gone.
Yeah. Popping in, man. What the hell, man? We don't need his ratings. We got ratings enough, man. He's trying to give it more.
I was pretty quick there. I was pretty quick.
You got rid of him quick.
I got that out of there, right?
Yeah.
What's going on my monitor here? All right, the World Series. All right. Okay. So he's a Cyclone.
Yeah.
All right, man. You got your moment. I hope you enjoy it. Okay. All right. Mark. I'm going to go through the games with you. NFL. I'm going to leave it on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll wrap up the show here in a little bit. Okay. Phillies are going to win tonight. I mean, the Eagles are going to win tonight. Okay. And then we got Chargers at Atlanta. This is a pretty big game because the Falcons are 4-4. The Chargers have they haven't gotten to where we expected them. You know, they're just under the radar still, and they're not really under the radar. They're just underachieving. You know.
Well, I had the Falcons to finish second in the division.
Right.
And people were laughing. They said, "How can you have them above New Orleans?" And I said, "No, there's something about it. Marcus Mariota. I think what they're doing there is they put the Matt Ryan saga behind them. It was sad to see him, kind of showing the door, but man, oh man, the Falcons are surprising, man. They've eked out wins. They should have won out here in Los Angeles. They came back down 28-3. If they had another quarter, they would have beat the Rams. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they pull one on the Chargers. I know the Chargers are coming off a bye week, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they pull one on L.A.
Oh, all right. Dolphins at Chicago. Both these teams made big trades, giving up talent. Nick Chubb just got a 5-year extension as he was traded to the Dolphins, and Chicago hanging around, but I think the Dolphins made a huge that's a huge pickup, and I think we'll see how it plays out. But I think the Dolphins are a talented team, and Nick Chubb just made that defense potent, man, because he gets to the quarterback, and that changes a lot.
They're a talented team, but some of their loss. When I looked at, they came up short with Cincinnati. You knew they were, they pulled one out of their hat against the Ravens. The Steelers should have beat them if Pinkett had another season and under his belt. They fell way behind Detroit. I don't know what the hell is going on in Detroit, but they pulled one there. Can they do it on the road again? In Chicago, they're a surprise in that division. They're tied with the Jets.
Right.
Sitting behind Buffalo ahead of New England. But, it was funny the other day. I was wearing a T-shirt. And the Dolphin fans aren't going to like me for this one. It was 1982, the snowplow game.
Oh, yeah.
When the Patriots, cleared the
I remember that. When I lived in Miami, that was always a big topic.
Yeah.
Always a big topic.
Game.
All right. Carolina at Cincinnati. Carolina has been surprising people. Walker, quarterback, and then you have Cincinnati that just looked horrible without Chase, their stud receiver. I mean, is that guy that big of a deal? Yeah, but the Bengals are not a good team, man.
I love the receiver there in Higgins, man. This guy he's going to make a lot of money next year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well,
I like Higgins, but you know what? The Bengals at home, you got to go with the Bengals because I think they have enough firepower to take out Carolina. Carolina's been ugly in some of their losses.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying.
The Rams, they came out here. The Rams kind of throttled them. So, they beat Tampa. They pulled out, came up short with Atlanta, but I don't think they're going to beat Cincinnati. I like Cincinnati.
All right, next one there is Green Bay at Detroit.
Boy, man, Green Bay's a mess. Detroit's
if Green Bay can't win this game, this is the nuclear bomb going off on their season. Like, you can't lose to Detroit, man. You can't. Like, this
I don't know
what
happened in Detroit after they.
It's in Detroit too. It's in Detroit, and the Packers struggling in Detroit.
Well,
over the year.
The Lions started out, gave the Eagles fits in the first game, bounced Washington in the second game. Just seemed like this team went south when they went to New England and got their asses handed to them. Continued in Dallas. They had to bye. Then they come back, and here comes Miami to beat them. So I don't know. Really ugly situation. I'm going to go with the home dogs in this one. I think Green Bay is really going down the tubes real fast.
Wow. All right. Vegas. The Vegas, man, they don't even have a pirate ship. They don't even have a captain with a wooden leg with no eye. They got nothing that can really get you scared.
This is whoever loses this is going to be on the outside looking in.
Of course.
I had the Jags to win the division. I thought they had the best quarterback in the division. I had the Raiders to get, win their division. But man, oh man, it started out 4-0 in the preseason. And they have just been snake bitten in their losses. Arizona, the Chargers. But to go to New Orleans and get hammered like that, that's embarrassing.
Well, yeah, this is week 9 is pivotal for a lot of teams. But the separation will start to happen in November, right? But the NFL is strange lately. And we have a lot of teams still existing. There are, 26 how many teams? 7? I forget. There's 60% of the teams in the NFL, I believe this is correct, are 500 and better. There's a crazy number. And there's a lot of teams that are 3-5, right? So nobody's really out. So we really don't have clarity, but November should separate and weed out some teams. And this is one game right here you're talking about.
Yeah, I like Jacksonville in this game for some reason.
You do?
I think, they, after the Charger game, they've kind of hit the skids in coming out of Philly when they had the 14-0 lead. But I don't know. There's something about it. I like Jacksonville to pull one out.
All right. Next game on the map here on the schedule is Colts at the Patriots. It used to be Brady against Manning, and now
Frank Wright's going to be fired. The Colts are a mess. I like New England. I think, what Belichick's done, second most wins, is unbelievable. I just think, he's another one like Pete Carroll that, he's kind of built it up and they lose key components, but yet it's just a system in place.
All right. Next game on the map is Buffalo at the Jets. Jets
can't win at home, but you know what? I think they'll pull this one out.
They will.
They're undefeated on the road, and look at the hostile environments they've won on the road.
Yeah,
Cleveland,
I like the Jets.
Pittsburgh, Denver.
Let's see real quick here. Vikings, Washington. This is the game you want the Commanders. I know that.
I like Washington. I mean, they've won 3 in a row. Chicago, it started on that Thursday night game. They beat Green Bay. I saw the game against Indianapolis. I think it's a trap game for Minnesota. Watch out. Washington's trying to get back in the thick of things with everything surrounding that organization this last week.
Right. Let's see what else we got. Cardinals, Seattle. I believe the Cardinals are going to blow them out. Not because I'm always at the games and things like that. I'm not a number one Cardinal fan, but here's my take on the Cardinals. They got another game under their belt with D-Hop, Anderson, the receiver. They get healthier, better at the running game. Seattle is not going to rock you with a lot of points. I'm not anticipating them to be this offensive juggernaut, right? I've watched a lot of Seahawks games already, and the Cardinals get out of the gates. If the Cardinals get out of the gates early for the first time all season long, they don't score any points in the first quarter, by the way. They suck. If they get out of the gates early, it's on. They're going to whoop them because the Cardinals may have figured out who they are, and they got reorganized with their D-Hop situation, and they're hungry. They're pissed. Seattle's walking in with a lot of confidence, and all the gamblers are betting the Seahawks. They're not betting the Cardinals, right? They're taking the road team, the underdog. You know what's happening. So my anticipation is the Cardinals are going to win this one pretty comfortably. If it's whooping, fine. But, 2 scores, 2 possessions is what I'm seeing in my head with the Cardinals. And I'm really not like that with the Cardinals all year, but this is one of those games I'm thinking the Cardinals, if you don't come out of the gates, then you really suck, and I'm never going to, even think about you.
No, I think you might be onto something. I mean, but the Seahawks are playing on house money. I mean,
that's what I mean. All house money.
An uncle or an aunt died, and they got a big inheritance, and they don't care. They're just going to go out there and roll that running attack they have. I mean, I haven't seen a running back like that since Kurt Warner. Geno Smith is finally got a coach that believes in him, lets him do his thing.
Right.
I mean, this is a team, man. Like I said, they're playing on house money. Who knows how far they can go? And we could be talking about this in January. If the Seahawks come out of the West and represent the West, that would be something.
Right. All right, so it would be crazy. But if Cardinals win, they're right in the thick of things again, which is a huge, huge situation because they have been ugly of a football team to be. Anyway, Rams at Tampa Bay.
I like Tampa. I think Tampa puts everything behind them.
And the other thing is, too, I think Tom Brady puts a lot of things behind him. And, I think Tom Brady give him a chance to breathe a little bit. He's got some closure to his situation in the personal life, and now he can start to think about more football. And it may change that, and he may be more hungrier now because this is all he's got now. He doesn't have the wife anymore, right? He's got his kids are over there. Like Tom is like, this is like he may just stick around a couple more years. I mean, think about it, because what else he's gonna do?
Right.
Oh, he's got Fox.
I don't know.
He's got the Fox contract. He got the Fox contract. I forgot.
Yeah, he's it's going to be interesting to see how far he can go. And but yeah, that was an ugly situation. You kind of wanted to see it work out, but Giselle moved on, I guess, and said no. It's not going to be. It's going to be my way or the highway.
All right, Tennessee at Kansas City. Both teams are 5-2. Man, this is pretty crazy stuff. Tennessee has won 5 in a row. They started off 0-2, and here they are, 5-2. And Kansas City, with all the love they get, 5-2, folks. And they lose this game, it's at home. But Tennessee has the formula is that running game and a little extra deep. I mean, if they can pull this win off, Tennessee, they're the talk of the town now. In Kansas City, you got to be scratching your head, right?
Well, it comes down to who wants it more, Derrick Henry or Patrick Mahomes. That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah.
And I think Kansas City got to go with the home dogs in this one. Tennessee, 5 in a row. But when you look at the 5 in a row, look at some of these. Who are these games that they, the Giants came in there and beat them. First game of the year, I believe. So, I'm not sold on the Titans. I mean,
the Giants,
I didn't think, look at the division. The divisions have been whipping on. So that's another thing you got to look at.
All right. Baltimore at New Orleans. New Orleans, they're a scrappy team. It's like they're going to be always an average team until Jameis Winston gets rolling, and hopefully he becomes hot, and then that offense is different. But Baltimore getting Roquan Smith is a big deal for that defense. That defense has given up 10-point leads. I think like what? They've given up a lot of leads and blown it.
They've lost. If you flip it around, the Ravens, they could be undefeated. They've lost 3 games, all 3 games pretty much in the last minute. Buffalo, they lost the Giants in Miami.
Right. All right. There's your NFL schedule. We just kind of threw it out here for you too, and a quick recap of what's going on. Not recap, but what's going on. It's 3-1 now. Houston. They got a walk, a base hit on a hit and run. The reliever comes in, gets the exact what he needed, a ground ball, and the first baseman makes an error. They had a guy out at home plate, so the run scores 3-1. They get the 1 out. Now they walk a batter, Houston, and a sac fly to right field. Now it's 1st and 3rd, 2 outs. Robertson's on the mound. He's done his job.
Yeah,
the error has killed him. Robinson's done great, but he's got to get your brother, Trey Mancini, is up. And there he is. And he's got to get a hit here for the Astros. They need some cushion. And but if Philly wants to win this game with that bullpen in the 8th and 9th inning that the Astros have, keeping it within 2 runs now is big. 3-run lead. That's Houston looking good.
Presley is unbelievable there.
We have to wait and see. We got to be concerned about, if you're a Philly fan, your team has only scored 1 run in 2 games right now. That's a big deal.
They've shut the offense down. And then if they lose this game, you got to win 2 in Houston. That's going to be awfully hard.
Yep, that's the point. And Houston, this is it, man. So, baseball's been funny, and sports, you never know. There's always a great story. All right,
I think Washington did it. Didn't they do that to Houston a few years? Yeah, they came, I think all the road teams won.
Hey, how about Trey Mancini? This is his first World Series at bat in his career after a long season, years of Baltimore Orioles losing stuff. Here he is, pinch hitting in the top of the 8th inning with a chance to make a difference if he gets a hit here. He's down 1-2 in the count, but those are good moments, and I'm going to wait and see if Mancini. No, he's 2-2. All right, Mark. I know it's getting late. It's been a long day. I'm at the stadium. I'm at the Seattle game. So
I think Sunday I'm in covering the Cleveland Laker game.
Really?
12:30 game. Yeah, weird one.
Nice.
Watch out. The Cavaliers are a couple of years away from really doing some damage.
Oh, they're already doing damage. The Cavs. They're definitely looking.
Donovan
good.
Mitchell and the gang. Yeah, that's
right.
Gonna be something. I can't wait till next week, my brother.
I'm gonna rack up the music for you. There she is. All right, we're back next Thursday night. Who's playing next Thursday? I don't even know.
Is it Carolina and Atlanta?
Oh, that's yeah.
It'll be, my birthday's a week from Monday, baby.
Oh, Mancini, you just struck out again. No, Trey Mancini goes down swinging. Anyway,
I love you, brother. I can't wait till next week. Bring the tribe back.
I will. We got to get the whole house in there. We're going to rock it on Thursday night from JJ Grub Shack. Tonight I had to be home, and then I had to get into studio. So we didn't go to JJ's tonight.
Yeah.
So we'll go
next
back
week,
next
baby.
Thursday night.
I love
Right.
you.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Love you too. It's Mancini. Great show. I appreciate you guys popping in. Let's bring it up. Hanna Time. Hanna Mancini. Cornelius Brad on Global Sports Broadcasting Network. We'll see you next Thursday night right here on Global Sports Broadcasting Network. It's Hanna Time.